got the Malibu Mist, we got Charlotte Marshall, and Kara Anderson. And balanced spiritually is that part of our consciousness that seeks to separate from the whole, from all that is, and our complete union with oneness. There's willful aspects of our nature that needs our spiritual life and practice. Sometimes people are drawn to psychic and intuitive work as a way to access information and knowledge in order to feel superior to others. It can be tempting to believe that having intuitive makes one special and closer to the truth. Spiritual egoism is a danger that our guides and angels work to help us avoid. It's not uncommon for us to become overly focused on our personal wants and desires because the world we live in tends to create a self-centered attitude. We are taught to work hard to control ourselves and others. Each day we add more stress and worry to our already overburdened lives. Not believing that we exist within a consistent flow of love and abundance, we compete with one another in what appears to be a zero-sum environment. Our guides and other helpers attempt to create experiences for us that will lift us into higher levels of consciousness. They work to enable us to experience our power to co-create and draw us to good. When we come to the realization that the ego actually gets in the way of our joy and prosperity, we'll be more willing to ignore its chattering voice. To enter into a life full of grace, we must believe that grace exists, that grace is as authentic and powerful as tangent, concrete world that we define as real. Intuitive development will at some point take us out of ourselves and expand our understanding of others' perspectives and realities. It ought to be a path out of narcissism and into oneness. Each intuitive might experience this process somewhat differently. Emotional intuitives will be led by love and service to others. Their spiritual path takes them from the self-absorption of codependent love to the experience of unconditional love. Mental intuitives are centered in the mind. They are being led by the experience of divine mind and sharing the thoughts of God. They may have to discipline their mind to accept ideas and thoughts from the vibrations of wisdom, always willing to be non-judgmental and open to new possibilities. They will have to question the accepted thought patterns that may keep them bound in negativity and narrow-mindedness. Physical intuitives live the path of the divine, manifesting in and through the physical. They are very much in the body and on the earth, and their journey is from duality to oneness. The experience of no division between what is of body and what is of spirit is their deepest lesson. Physical intuitives will move from duality to oneness by becoming more aware of subtle energies and not discounting realities that are in physical form. They will evolve in their journey as they accept the intangible and become better able to perceive the ethereal within themselves and the world around them. Spiritual intuitives are somewhat similar, but they work from the opposite direction as they live in spirit yet are bound to the physical. Their path is the experience of freedom. For spiritual intuitives, embodying oneness is the ability to fully live their spiritual purpose here on earth. It is to bring the magic and inspiration of their spirit fully into the physical. They are here to share their truth fully in the physical without judgment and restriction. When they commit to a plan of action and see their purpose manifest in the world, they will be able to integrate their spirit with the physical. Our guides and angels will usually initiate our learning process. As our trust and our connection that we have with our guides, angels, and other teachers becomes stronger and more tangible, we will be led into deeper psychic waters. We will question less or give me head or non-physical. Charlotte Marshall and Kara Emerson give me head to rely and depend more on the guidance we were receiving. For years, Cassie has been taking the classes to develop the ability to be a medium. She has always been attracted to spiritual suits and helping others. She is an ordained Methodist minister, but she works in the church for only a few years. She presently works as director of a hospice where people rely on her empathy and skill at helping others to cope in times of crisis. Cassie recently took a psychic development class of mine. During the exercise class, she was surprised with emergence of some old, deep-rooted childhood pain that surfaced during a meditation. She felt overwhelmed by the intensity and the depth of the sadness that seemed to explode within her. After class, she asked me why this had happened. She told me that her intent was to develop as a medium, and she felt disappointed that instead of connecting with people who had passed over, she instead felt her own inner pain. Her emotional energy was blocked. Cassie is an emotional intuitive. In order for her to be able to open up to the voice spirit and intuit the energy of others, it is necessary for her to become a clear channel. We cannot bypass our own growth. Cassie did not feel like her own deep emotions when her guides had led her to intuition, intuiting the energy of others, but her own place in need. In a way, she felt betrayed. Cassie came into class with a high degree of empathy. For a long time, she has worked assisting other people in painful situations, and in the process, she has become adept at handling emotional intensity. Even though Cassie is very competent in dealing with the emotions of the others, in the intuition development class, she found herself controlling her own buried pain. In order for Cassie to move deeper into her psychic potential, she needs to learn to transform painful emotions and release herself from any inner emotional toxicity. This can be difficult work, but when we undertake this deep and inner transformative action, through positive, powerful spiritual gateways open. We become free to love from the deep source of unconditional love within us, to embrace the heart of wisdom encumbered by the static and self-centeredness of our wounds. I had a client, Tammy, who had not dated for years, but she had recently posted a single ad on an internet dating site. Tammy was a wonderful writer and a very attractive woman. Her entertaining ad received over 30 passes from men from all walks of life. Among them were engineers, science, construction workers, software developers, attorneys, and a chef. She met most of them and slowly narrowed the dating process to 2 or 3 or 4. From them, these men, she eventually decided to exclusively date one man. Henry. Tammy felt strongly that he was the one. After a few months of dating Henry, Tammy called me very upset. She told me that she had not heard from Henry in over a week. She had not answered her phone calls and he had not been to work. She was convinced that something had happened to him. She was seeking out his friends and co-workers, trying to find out anything she could. In the process, she discovered that Henry had gone on a drinking binge. He was at home in his bed, drunk and despondent. Tammy was devastated. She did not even know that he drank. Tammy was devastated. What surprised her in a way even more was the same pattern that her father would fall into when she was young. He would work hard, be attentive, and periodically he would go on a drinking binge that would sometimes last for weeks. She remembered times when no one would know where he was for days, dude. We create our wounds in order to heal them. Our conscious mind is usually, I told you they're just savants, usually unaware of what we're doing, yet we drive our behaviors, what lurks within us, that has needed some healing. Lisa went after the anthrax. Our spiritual ego is often tied up in our pain as our ego that has been wounded. When we heal the pain, the spiritual ego begins to dissolve. When our ego is in charge of our intuitive and psychic development, we will be plagued by overstride and worry. We will never do enough, never be enough. Gotcha. Whatever intuitive type we may view, we usually find their past wounds, pains, blocks, and evolve human partial service. This is good. It gives us the opportunity to become free and to live in the present. We can ask our angels, guides, and teachers to help us unblock our painful, wounded parts. Powerful, loving angels are ready to carry our hurt and wounds into the light, where these heavy energies can be transformed. When we ask, we can be showered within the healing white light. Where we held pain and negativity can become a vessel of love and forgiveness. This kind of healing infuses our spiritual, psychic growth, shifting into higher awareness. Our spirit belongs to us to see the psychic sea of all that is. We begin this passage with an increase our dream or premonitions that involve others, often our family or friends. We may get immediate impressions upon meeting new people or going to new places. We may feel as we might have been given a message or important information to give to somebody. Often when we begin to have these experiences, our initial response is to wonder why we have been given access to knowing particularly extrasensory information. For some people, a psychic opening can be upsetting. They feel silly or awkward letting others know that they have had a dream or intuitive impression that might relate to them. Getting intuitive impressions can be like soaking up the rays of the sun. Energy is always circulating, and as we begin to open, it is normal for us to pick up anything that is being energetically broadcast. We may not always understand why and how we receive certain psychic information. It is not uncommon to have a psychic breakthrough that involves an unfortunate or traumatic event. These are deviations from the natural flow of energy, even though we usually do not feel as if we are psychically attuned to our environment. When there is an energetic order, we are likely to pick up on it.